Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, ULAANBAATAR. And for our top stories, 1,021 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 and 10 additional deaths reported. Cabinet members paid a working visit to the Taishir Hydro-Power plant. Erdenes Tavan Tolgoi helps with Mongolian COVID-19 relief. And for the news, stay tuned. The Ministry of Health reported that 1,021 new COVID-19 cases were confirmed today and 10 people have died.
The Ministry of Health today on November 2 has reported that 1,021 new COVID-19 cases were detected in the past 24 hours after tests were carried out at PCR laboratories across the country. Unfortunately, 10 people died due to COVID-19 complications. All new cases are of domestic transmission, 690 out of which were confirmed in ULANBAATAR, and the remaining 331 were confirmed in the provinces. 15,563 COVID-19 patients are being treated at hospitals nationwide. Additionally, 44,375 patients are being treated at home. Among the 15,563 COVID-19 patients treated at hospitals nationwide, 7,198 are showing mild symptoms of illness and 301 are in critical condition. Currently in Mongolia, over 2.25 million people have received their first COVID-19 vaccine dose nationwide, and over 2.13 million have received a second dose of vaccine. Also, nearly 400,000 people have received a booster shot so far.
Cabinet members and the Speaker of Parliament paid a working visit to the Taishir Hydro-Power plant and got acquainted with its operations.
The Taishir Hydro-Power plant produces and supplies electricity at a cost of 34.72 Mongolian turuk per kilowatt-hour to Zahong and Gawalta provinces. The power plant supplies almost 40% of the electricity requirements of these two provinces, and last year it produced 232 megawatts of electricity. The output of this hydropower plant is quite high. For example, annually, 12 billion Mongolian turuk of subsidies used to be allocated to these two provinces' electricity consumption. Now this expenditure has decreased by about 10 billion Mongolian turuk. During the working visit, the Speaker of Parliament, Untitled Chapter, and the administration of the Taishir Hydro-Power plant talked about emerging issues.
One
of the main challenges that the Taishir Power plant is facing at the moment is the tax on real estate. It's 226 million MNT annually, and it has generated a total tax debt of 1.9 billion MNT since the launch. If the tax issue could be resolved, it will be possible to attract a permanent investment, meaning that the maintenance and repair will be conducted on a regular basis.
The administration of the power plant requested that the Speaker of Parliament provides the necessary support for this issue. In total, 7 similar renewable energy hydropower plants are operating in Mongolia. In case of Taishir, it produces around 1 megawatt of power for Gawalta and Ulyasta. Mongolia has great potential for generating renewable energy, and another major energy and power project with great potential is the Erdenes hydropower plant, which is yet to be constructed.
Around March of 2022, this construction work of the Erdenes power plant is planned to commence. With the launch of that power plant, it will be possible to supply electricity to the western region of Mongolia. One major challenge we are facing is related to creating a 4-kilometer wide, 23-kilometer long water basin. Related to this, there is a pressing need of how to relocate people currently living in the area.
For example, Norway supplies around 90% of its energy consumption from renewable sources. Mongolia has good sources of sustainable and renewable energy, but currently the country isn't as yet fully utilizing that great potential.
One of Mongolia's largest mining companies, Erdenes Tavan Tolgoi, is helping to alleviate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic in Mongolia through a massive fiscal contribution and a renewed commitment to continue investments in local infrastructure mega projects. The mining giant has also negotiated favorable trading agreements with China despite COVID-19 related obstacles.
Last year, confronted with the chaos of interrupted supply chain procedures due to COVID-19, ETC still managed to ship an impressive 15.5 million tons of coal, earning 1.68 trillion Mongolian tugrus, including 1.5 trillion Mongolian tugrus in sales revenue. The flagship company also reported a net profit of 149.4 billion Mongolian tugrus and contributed 490.1 billion Mongolian tugrus in taxes and fees to the state budget. Despite being prevented from transporting coal to China, its largest customer, ETT managed to negotiate receipt of an advance payment for the coal, which will ship as soon as the borders reopen. As one of the most profound consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been interruptions to the supply chain and a decline in exports and imports due to logistical challenges, and this represents a hope for the company and the people of Mongolia. According to a recent survey, net exports from Mongolia accounted for 6.2% of the country's GDP in the second quarter of 2018, falling to 1.9% for the same period in 2021. A 2020 study by the World Bank and the National Statistics Office of Mongolia also found that 28% of Mongolians could be called poor, and fears have been voiced that this number could swell to around 43%. Rising prices and shortages of goods are having a substantial impact on the livelihoods of ordinary Mongolians, who find that they have less and less purchasing power.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Her Excellency Batsitsik, had a telephone conversation with the Israeli Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Yair Lapid, and exchanged views on bilateral relations and cooperation. Both ministers congratulated one another on the 13th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Mongolia and Israel and agreed to further enhance the cooperation. Minister Batsitsik highlighted the successful 30-year progress of the bilateral relations and expressed her aspirations of broadening the cooperation in the leading industries of Israel, such as innovation, high technology, agriculture, and tourism. They also talked about the current COVID-19 pandemic situation, the successful vaccination campaigns in both countries, and the transition back to normal life following the third booster dose vaccination.
Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today, and thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.